So it's January the 3rd, 2024. The River Ouse in York has flooded. It's not rained today. We had some heavy rain yesterday, heavy rain about a week ago, and crucially, it's been a wet autumn and winter leading up to this. The river is about 4 metres above the level you'd see it in the summer, but still about a metre and a half below the height it's ever been recorded. We take a journey through the city centre, starting at Scarborough Bridge, where we get to see just how wide the water has become, easily clearing the footpaths that run immediately beside the river. You can also see some of the flood defences that are in operation, stopping the water getting into those houses there by the river. A bit downstream near Lendal Bridge, where even Dame Judy would struggle to walk, just a reminder that once the river has burst out of its banks, raising by another metre requires an awful lot more water than it would do to raise 1 metre whilst it's still in its normal channel. Moving downstream again to Ouse Bridge, and the most famous images of York in flood are of King's Staithe, which is frequently underwater, although not usually to the extent it is here. Zooming into the river as it flows past the bridge, a reminder it's not just high, it's not just wide, it's also flowing unusually fast, especially as it squeezes its way through those arches. A bit downstream, a lone goose struggles to swim against the current. Now moving upstream and out of the city centre to Clifton Ings, with York Minster way off in the distance there. What's usually just a ribbon of water flowing through the river channel has been allowed to flood and completely cover all those fields either side of the river, creating this lake or almost sea of water. Feels like an old-fashioned way to prevent water going where you don't want it, but very, very effective. And we've got to be so grateful all this water's not trying to squeeze its way below the bridge with all the rest of the water. Back in the city centre, that flood bank's doing a great job, but water's come up from the drains to surround the Hospitium there. And moving into Skeldergate, where a more extreme example of water coming up through the drains is visible. However, even if that water was able to get into the river, it would simply just go straight up into the streets again anyway. Now we're going to go on top of Clifford's Tower, looking down on the River Ouse, where St George's there, just south of Skeldergate Bridge, is usually a car park. It's not much use as a car park as we speak. And then the other side of the tower, out of shot there, we're going to follow the route of the River Foss as it travels down past that car park, past the Castle Museum, and out to meet the River Ouse just out of shot there. Moving to the point where the two rivers meet, this is the Foss barrier that's in operation. So that water from the Foss can't get past the barrier. Instead, it goes into this pumping station and then comes out to the other side of the barrier through these gates. From here, the Foss can meet the Ouse and go and find some moorings at Fulford or Neyburn or Bishopthorpe. The main risk is not the Foss water causing problems. The main risk is the water from the Ouse going back up the Foss and causing big floods upstream. It used to happen regularly, but now it can't do because of this barrier that's in place. Moving downstream of the city, first to the Knavesmire, the racecourse, which has reverted to its mire state, not through water from the river, but water coming up from below. And a bit further out to Acaster Malbis, where a bus would really struggle to stop there unless it's some sort of Venetian gondola. Next, we're going to go back into the city centre, but about a week later when the water has receded and we're now in the clean-up stage. We've got workers out there washing down the footpaths, getting rid of the mud, but it's not muddy footpaths that are the real problem. It's water getting into buildings, which is why these flood barriers are so important. And as we see the clean-up at a different location from a different angle, we can see just how much filth there is actually deposited after flood events such as these.